This
Good.
conference will now be recorded.
All right. My man, what's going on with you?
Not much, man. Just taking care of business and working hard every single day.
Hey, that's all you can do, right?
That's all any of us can do.
Control what you have control of.
Hey, one thing I talk about to have a super strong mindset. You have to control your mental focus.
All right. All right. So now where are you out of now? You're
I'm in Raleigh.
well, okay. Okay. How's the weather out there, man? Is it pretty
Yeah, it's pretty.
humid, pretty toasty?
It's not humid, like it's not too humid. Where are you located?
I'm in Kansas, Lawrence, Kansas.
Oh, okay, I know where it's at. Yeah, how are you guys doing right now with your stuff?
It's not bad. I'm looking outside now. It's getting a little bit toastier, but it's not as bad. I mean, Lawrence or Kansas in general, it can go either way. It's like one of those things where it'll get like snow one day and then it'll be like 110 degrees the next day.
Well, yeah, man. I look forward to the interview, man, and getting things rolling.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let me go ahead and hit that intro, and then we can chop it up a little bit. So,
All right.
hey guys, what's going on? My name is Pat Brown. I'm a financial advisor in Lawrence, Kansas. Played football with the University of Kansas a number of years ago. Was a three-year starter. Was a captain. Enjoyed my time there immensely. Um, Met a lot of great people there. And so as time went on, I became very passionate about financial literacy for student athletes, which led me down this path of interviewing former student athletes with the hopes that current student athletes can learn from some of their successes and failures. And so during this process, I try to reach out to people that I certainly respect and that are doing big things online. And I came across this brother on LinkedIn, and I just reached out, and he was gracious enough to share some time with me. So, and I want to make sure I pronounce your name correctly. Is Mark? Is it Marquez? Marquise?
Oh, it's just Marcus.
Marcus. Oh, I'm just way off. Okay, my bad.
Oh, no,
Uh,
no, it's spelled like that, but it's just pronounced Marcus.
okay, so Marcus Ogden. And so I like to do my little cyber stalking of you, man, and see what I can come up with before we go through this. And so you went to Howard University,
I did.
HBCU.
I did. Followed my dad's footsteps, who was also a Bison and played. But he was the first class to get scholarships for the Bison. Went from 1969 to 1972.
Wow. Okay. So it was a pretty good. You had a pretty good time there, because I
I
would
love
imagine your experience is probably different than mine.
it. That's for sure. Howard was great. It was a lot of fun. I'm from Washington D.C. originally, so
Okay.
being there, it was great. Great teammates. Had a few guys go to the NFL, man, that I played with. Antoine Bethea, who was a strong safety in the NFL for the Colts for many years. Ronald Bartell, who was a corner for a few years, and it was just great, man. Just great energy, great. Actually, another friend of mine, Tracy White, actually won a few Super Bowls with the Patriots as a
Oh
special
wow.
team guy and an outside linebacker with the Patriots. Was a Howard teammate of mine, so it was great. A lot of great guys, lots of great energy, and I had a fun time in Washington D.C.
All right. All right. So then I'm just looking here. So you were drafted in 2003, round six. So you went to the Jackson Jaguars first, huh?
Correct. Jack Del Rio. I was actually drafted by James Shaq Harris, who was the director of player development. Sorry, he was the director of pro personnel with the
Okay.
Jaguars. He was one of the first African American quarterbacks to start in the National Football League. He was a quarterback out of Grambling who played with Eddie Robinson.
Oh
Or played,
wow.
played for Eddie Robinson.
Yeah. 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 No doubt. Eddie Robinson. Yeah. That's big. Then you had a stint with the Baltimore Ravens, the Buffalo Bills, Tennessee Titans. So man, you played quite a bit in the league,
Almost
man.
almost
Congratulations.
almost 6 years, man. It was great. A lot of great teammates, a lot of great friends, lots of great coaches, lots of great experiences. So I really enjoyed my time in the National Football League.
How's your health? I mean, you feel pretty, yeah, like from a joint standpoint, you feel pretty good, or
I got some knee problems, a little bit of back problems, all that kind of stuff. But it's
yeah,
nothing crazy. But I do have a couple of aches and joint pains and things like that for sure.
for sure. So with this, all these interviews I've been trying to do, I always read off the definition of financial literacy, because I'm under the impression a lot of us, look at this as a bad connotation. Literacy, we're not literate. We don't know what we're talking about. It's not the case. So financial literacy is a possession of a set of skills and knowledge that allows an individual to make informed and effective decisions with all their financial resources. So if you can kind of take me back to freshman year, sophomore year at Howard,
Huh?
did anybody ever talk to you about money? Did they talk about credit, budgeting, or anything of that nature?
Yes, well, not so much at Howard from a outside of school standpoint, but I did
Hmm.
get I have a degree in finance, so I learned about that in college. And my father was one of the first African American bank managers for the Federal Home Loans Bank of New York in their DC office. So I was around that my dad was the manager of the stocks and bonds division
Oh
for the New York
wow.
Home Loans Bank of New York's DC office, probably about maybe a 5 minute walk from the White House. So I grew up understanding money, what it was like, how to manage money, what were the value of money. I learned that from a very young age.
That is awesome. That's amazing because again, not a lot of kids, have access to that
Oh,
and
sure,
be able, yeah, be able
absolutely
to learn
not.
at a young age.
Yes, sir.
So then, as far as I'm sure that with my next question here, I'm sure that shaped obviously decision making. So, how did you come to the decisions you made while you were in college? I mean, did you ever have to go through that trial and error, even though you did have this background, this foundation? Did you ever?
No, I didn't go through trial and error in college because I didn't really have any money. I couldn't work and any of that stuff. And then also my brother, who was the first draft pick for the Ravens in 1996, I learned from him, spent a lot of time with him. So I learned how to manage money, how to watch money. So very fortunate that I didn't have to go
Mhm.
through trial and error because I didn't really make a lot of money and I had to just watch my brother. What money I did have, I kind of, bought little things, food, things like that.
Right.
I mean, paid for college, so I didn't really have much of a trial and error process to go through. Thank goodness when I was in college.
Okay. Okay. And so then, since you didn't have no trial and error, my next question is about the worst financial decision you made. But if you're willing to make any, what were some of the best financial decisions that you made while you were in college?
The best thing I made in college was I actually did some investing in the stock market. One of my coaches, made me aware of some opportunities, and my brother decided to give me a investment opportunity. Gave me $5,000, a lot of money today, but still a ton of money back then to invest
Absolutely.
in the stock market. And I took that and did that and made a few bucks, made about a good 2,500, 3 grand in a year. And so
Okay.
learned a little bit about the market, how things work, volatility, GDP, what's going to drive the market, what's going to drive things. You want to get in low, sell high. You also want to get involved in, different types of, technology stocks or textile or manufacturing. And I
Hmm.
really developed a love at that age of technology stocks. And, that's kind of what made me aware. So I'm always, even to this day, if I look into investing in the stock market, I like tech. If I can find a good one that, is doing well with some good leadership and some good, management, then I like to invest in because technology to me, if you have a great product that's cutting edge, if you have great leadership, it will do well. If your leadership stinks, then it's not going to do well.
Yeah, those are words of wisdom. Words of wisdom, whether it's stocks or just sports teams in general. If you don't have the leadership, that can definitely dwindle.
True, very true.
Okay, so looking back in college, what do you wish you would have done different in regards to dealing with your money, if anything? Again, I know you're saying that.
Yeah, I wish. To be honest, I wish I would have done different. I wish I would have known about, letting my money grow in college,
Mhm.
like putting into like some 401ks, things like that. I mean, I could have a huge nest egg when I got out, or even like to this day, like putting in it like, I got the college at 17, I'm 40 today. Imagine 23 years of compounded
Yep.
interest that we work today. So I would
Yep.
love to have gotten into that 401k, IRA, that type of slow growth, which is much more steady and much more less risky at a young
Hmm.
age of college, and left it in there. and took full advantage of that today. And again, it's continuing to grow and compile, and it's kind of continue to do that. So I wish I would have started something like a 401k when I was in college.
No doubt, no doubt. Yeah, I think a lot of guys, and the couple times I am able to talk to a lot of these young guys, just expressing to them something like that, whether it's an IRA that they can, put money aside, and a lot of the guys, which I'm sure you're aware, we have a tendency to go out and eat a lot. Take that 20, $30 or whatever and just put that, somewhere and just let it grow. You don't have to spend everything. So
Right, I agree.
I'm glad you mentioned it.
That's again, that could have, $20 here, $30 there, it adds up in a major way.
Yeah, yeah. Um, so how have the habits you formed in college affected life after college, or has it?
Oh, it's been everything because I've learned how. I mean, I learned how to budget in college. I didn't have a lot. I learned just how to the value of a dollar. So when I got to
Yeah.
the NFL, I remember I wrote out like I actually still have this to this day somewhere in my possession. I wrote out like my like my profit and loss statement. Okay, like what's my income coming in from the Jaguars? I knew I
Okay.
was making uh 15 grand a week, so I was making like close to 10,000 a week in 2003 after taxes. And so I knew what my income was, but I also knew what my expenses were. My truck that I had bought, my apartment, my gas, my
Yep.
food. So I was budgeting. So I would always make sure, okay, well, I have money left over, which I always did, put money away and and all that kind of stuff. So even like today, like we have a personal bank account, my wife and I have. We have a business checking account. We have an MMA. We have stocks, and we also have a business savings account. And so that's kind of like our money. If we have to, like my wife has to have some surgery this summer, so we're going to take care of money out of that for that. We're going to we're buying a new home. We bought a home, and we haven't even moved in yet, Patrick, and we already have about close to 75 to 100 grand of equity in the house already. So we're going to take it. It costs about 25 to get into it, but again, 25 will be sitting in the house plus the one that we make, from the equity. Like we bought it. We bought it at 400K,
Uh-huh.
and and the cheapest thing going in that area right now, that's smaller, is like 485, 490. And they have
Oh,
one house that's not as big, but kind of more of a bigger model home, but not big as ours. That's starting off auction at 510. So
God.
and we got in November of last year, and we got it at 4. And again, the cheapest thing is going at 4. It's going at 490, not 45. It's 495. And then and then it's going so it's one for 495, one for 505, one for 510 starting. And our house is bigger than all of those that are starting out and going for that. Plus, Patrick, plus Apple was moving to our area. So
Oh,
Apple is
wow.
their Eastern Seaboard headquarters in our area, bringing
Hmm.
3,000 jobs to the area. And the starting median salary, Patrick, is $185,000
To start.
to start. That's like the median salary that they're paying people.
Wow. That's crazy, man. How'd you even find out about this place?
My wife's family is from here.
Okay.
So my wife's
Okay.
family was here, and we moved here after I filed my bankruptcy with my company.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Well, good
Mhm.
deal, man. Sound like that's not gonna be too bad at all.
Nah, not bad
Not,
at all.
not too bad at all. So, what would you say were some of the pitfalls that you hope that your story could prevent to young student athletes out there? What would you say to a young Marcus?
I would tell them to not get caught up in putting all of your eggs in one basket. That's how I lost everything when I was in my construction company. I was
Oh,
putting all my money into a project, into a job, and I did not get paid back by the developer and contractor. And
wow.
poof, I went
Wow.
bankrupt. Tell young athletes that if you're going to get into business, do the 80-20 rule. If you're a risky investor, don't put
Hmm.
any more than 20% of your net worth into any project, period. Keep 80% into good, safe investments. If you have moderate risk, go 10%. If you are low risk tolerance, no more than 5%, and work from there. But no matter how risky you are, never put more than 20% of your net worth into anything. Keep 80% in good, safe, solid investments, good liquidity, This way, if you lose something, you can at least recoup that. You have 80% of your net worth ready to still stand on to do things in a good way. I put in 10%, then it became 20, it became 30, it became 40.
Mm,
And once it became 50, I'm like, man, I gotta get my money back. And it became 75. I'm like, damn, I got 25% left. Like, I put $3 million into a project. I should have stopped at about $600,000 of my assets. But because I
wow.
was just not very mature as far as how to be a good businessman, I kept putting money into a bad situation, Patrick, and poof, that was it.
Bad money after bad money, man.
Oh
But I
yeah,
like
that's what it was. I mean, I know I kept putting good money into a
good
bad
money.
situation.
Yeah. No, I like what you're saying. I'm glad that you're honest with it and keeping it 100, man. That's amazing advice. So I hope the folks that kids are listening will take that into consideration. So we're kind of getting towards the end here, and so these next questions were more or less bonus questions, if you will, and
Sure.
question just dealing with after you got out of school. Here you are, your first contract. You're obviously making significantly more than what you did, as a college athlete. How did you deal with that? I know you said your brother, who had already kind of paved the way for you, but did you kind of lean on him quite a bit, or?
I leaned more on my father, who was a financial guy, knew money, knew about things. So I took a lot of my dad's advice. Plus, a lot of the company that my dad used to work with, they ended up helping me out because my dad trusted them, so I trusted them. So again, and I was always cognizant of money, and I was very cognitive, not emotional, knowing that money was a tool. It was not the way you should like be all excited about life. And I
Yeah.
learned that young, and I was able to manage, my finances. But unfortunately for me, when I was in the NFL, I kept my money and things were great. But unfortunately, as I got into construction and I got into more having an ego because I was a big businessman, that's where I made my mistakes.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Well, like I said, what I guess from an aspiration standpoint, kind of talk about what you're currently doing now. I mean, you obviously you played ball in college, you did in the NFL at the highest level. What are
Mhm.
you doing now with yourself?
So now today I've taken all my trials, my tribulations, my failures, my the things I've gone through, and I'm a national international keynote speaker, executive coach, consultant, two-time best-selling author. I am the co-host of the Levin Marcus Show. We launched 7 weeks ago, and we've been on all major podcast platforms for the last 4 weeks, and we're already in the top 5% globally most downloaded and listened to podcasts in the industry for all podcasts. And
Wow.
we're getting international attention. We're ranked number 210 in Sweden for sports podcasts on Apple. And like I said, we have only been up for 4 weeks. We just bought a few ads starting in July. Everything has been basically organic, word of
Yeah.
mouth, great guests. So you can go on either Apple, Google, Spotify, Stitcher, or iHeart, and you can download the Levin Marcus Show. It's very eclectic. We'll have retired athletes, current athletes. One of my clients, a company called Red Gold Quality, they are the second largest supplier of ketchup in the world. They're actually in your neck of the woods. They're in Elwood, Indiana. They're family
Okay.
owned, started in 1942. They are, again, they're number 2 in the globe or in the entire world for ketchup
Wow.
supply behind Heinz.
Yeah.
They are an amazing company. We have people that work for the NFL have come on there. We had a guy yesterday who was a 12-year NFL vet who now works for the NFL as their vice president of player development was on there. We've had people who are about networking and all
Yeah.
kinds of just great stuff. So it's a sports, business, entrepreneurship mindset type of podcast. Check us out. We really appreciate your support. Subscribe to us. It's great information, great value at the price of completely free. So that's what we're doing now. And then again, I'm doing more speaking. I've worked for 25 Fortune 500 companies as a speaker, Patrick, in the last 5 years. Technology, retail, sales, financial, insurance, all across the board. Companies like Merrill Lynch, Bank of America,
Yeah.
PNC, Mutual of Omaha, Liberty Mutual Insurance, New York Life, MetLife, Cisco, Siemens. And I tell people that because as an African American speaker. I was an athlete that started out in 8 years. Well, I guess I was I was 32 at the time. I was almost 33. I started in September, so I was basically about to turn 33. So I've been doing this now for 7.5, a little over 7 years. And for the first 2.5 years, I was told no on every pay job I went after. For the last
Wow.
about 5 to 5.5 years, I've had a lot of success, worked hard, putting out content. But I tell people, if you're not willing to start at the bottom, to start a journey, don't bother starting because you'll never
Yeah.
succeed.
Man, that's some wisdom right there. Some wisdom. Okay. I
Yes, sir.
like it. I
Yes,
like
sir.
it. Well, man, I appreciate all your time. I know you're a busy, man. I appreciate you taking the time to kind of talk a little bit, and look forward to just kind of staying in touch and catching up with you.
Yeah, sounds good, Patrick. Thanks for having me on, my friend. Look forward to staying in touch with you, man.
All right, man. You take care.
You say.
Yep. Turn us off. There we go.